Hello, everyone, and welcome back finally to another Misfits Racing League broadcast. We are back finally. It's been a long, long off season, but we are finally here with some season 4. And to kick things off here in Albert Park, Australia, for round number 1, it is the Tier 3 guys taking to the circuit. And joining me, as always, my lovely co-commentator all the way from Canada, Striffium. How are you doing today, buddy?
I am extremely excited, Mikal. It has been too long of an off season from season 3 to season 4. Here we are, 5 divisions, back at it again, 22 races. It's going to be so much fun. And today we have so much for you guys. We've got Tier 3 kicking off the day. Later, 6 hours from now, we've got the Americas division where Mikal will be back with stars. And then I'll actually get to race. But, before we get into all of that, Mick, we have a very, very, very special announcement. Okay, everybody's been waiting for this. First and foremost, welcome to Season 4. Today we kick off all 5 divisions, beginning with Tier 3. Now, over the past year, our focus has been on community, growing the sim racing world globally, and today we are proud to announce our partnership with Next Level Racing. That's right, Next Level Racing, the global leader in sim racing with its amazing product range and range of affordability in racing gear, cockpits, seats, and things alike. Together this year, we will be hosting more events side by side with the league in partnership with Next Level Racing. So stay tuned to Twitter for announcements on the F1 community level for events, and don't forget to join the Discord. Now, with that being said, thank you everyone for the support of the Misfits community and the league. It means the world. And with that, we're just going to keep driving ahead. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Mikal, take us into Season 4.
Yes, the first place that our lovely drivers will be heading to is, of course, my own backyard. It is, of course, the Albert Park circuit in Melbourne, Australia. 16 turns, 5.3 kilometers, 3 DRS zones that allow some passing opportunities into turns 1, 3, and 13. There to assist the drivers in making their overtakes. And it is actually quite the bumpy circuit, and it can actually be quite hard to overtake. So hopefully we see these Tier 3 guys maybe take some risks, but I don't know how many risks they will be taking for this first round of the season. So without further ado, let's go through this grid before we get into the action for qualifying. So lining up on the grid for the Mercedes squad, it will be Arrow and Cactus representing the Silver Arrows. It will be Razor and Aussie representing the Scuderia. Yasko and Back Row in those 2 Red Bull seats. And Unicorn making his MRL Racing debut in the Renault alongside Dunk on U2, another new driver to the grid. Dirt Chocolate and Damon fill in the McLaren squad, 2 very, very known personalities within the F1 community. Rutanius and Moen will fill in the Pink Panthers. Gadwin and Undertaker fill in the Alpha Tauris. Atom and Lovell for the Alfa Romeos. Fuba and Maka in the Haas's. And last but certainly not least, Alex Budd and Squid for the Williams crew. And with that, Striff, I believe we are all ready to go.
We are ready to go. We're just going to get all the drivers readied up and dialed in now for 18 minutes of qualifying and a 50% distance race, Mikal. It's like riding a bike when you get back into these races. So we'll just take 2 moments to get everybody all set, as it's the first race of the season, of course.
Yes, that it is.
Gotta
A lot of nerves.
A lot of nerves and a lot of cobwebs to shake out, you know.
Yeah, not just for the drivers here, but also here in the commentary booth, Striffian. But I am very excited. I'm very, very excited.
How are you guys in the chat feeling? Are you guys excited for some Tier 3 action? It is the first official round of MRL Season 4, ladies and gentlemen, and it's Australia. And you guys know how it goes around Australia. There is going to be some action, to say the least.
There most definitely is. Australia, a very unique circuit. Certainly one that has become a staple of hosting the first rounds of the season. But it should be a very, very nice show nonetheless. And as is with these Tier 3 drivers, we have the full 20 roster that I just ran through in the pre-show. They're all here. all representing their teams, and yeah, lots of pressure, all throughout the paddock here in MRL. But it's all going to be a lot of fun, and we'll just take things one step at a time, Stryfium.
This is going to be so much. We've had a lot of practice. We've had a lot of opportunity to see these racers, preseason races, practice races. We've had quite a few around Australia in the past few days as well, with everyone getting geared up for this round. And I think we have a little bit of doom and gloom here in the clouds, Mikya, as it's quite overcast here in the qualifying. 18 minutes now is what these drivers are going to have to get their best time set, to put themselves in the best possible position for the championship, or of course this race in particular. Mika, why don't you talk to us for a moment about the new stuff happening around this league in Season 4?
Well, after the enormous growth that we witnessed last season in Season 3, we have now kept the 5 grids that we have. The old grids of EU and Club being rebranded as part of the official tiering system. So we have the 3 European tiers. So these guys here are the 3rd tier. So theoretically the slowest of the bunch. But these guys, I'm sure you can agree with me, Stryfium, they are anything but slow.
Well, there's quite a good chunk of recognizable names on this grid, Mika, and I'm sure a lot of the members of the community are recognizing quite a few of them. Of course, we've got Damon Plays, Dirk Chocolate, Alex Bud, quite a few streamers up in this grid. And we have just some serious pairings. Damon and Dirk together. Cactus running over at Mercedes with Arrow. We've got Mo in back, Rotanius over there with him at the Racing Point. Yasko in back row for the Red Bull squad. We just have great pairings all over this grid, and I'm super happy to finally be out for qualifying, because we've been looking forward to Australia since, realistically, since we ended Season 3. It was just a question of who was going to be driving and what day, and here we are, 19th of January, 8 p.m. over for those of you in the UK, and, well, it's fairly early for you over in Australia, isn't it, Mick?
Yep, it's 7 a.m., bright and early. But I couldn't miss this one, Striff. These guys, they've been putting in so much work all throughout preseason testing and all throughout the off-season. And it will be Atom, which will be providing us the first hot lap of the season. So, ladies and gentlemen, Season 4 is finally here, and Atom will take us around a lap of my backyard, the Albert Park circuit in Melbourne, Australia. So down the Walker Straight now, heading into turn 1, braking just before the 50, taking all of that apex turning at turns 1 and 2, being sure to use that green astroturf at the exit of 2, now the second of the 2 DRS zones. As you're looking for that black box on the left-hand side, that's your braking marker for turn 3, down into 3rd gear. A little bit of a lock up there on the front right for the Alfa Romeo driver, but it doesn't seem to have cost him too much. Nice and tidy through turns 4, turn 5, completely flat out right-hander all the way up through the gears. Does he opt to go to 8th? No, he keeps it in 7th. Down into 5th gear for turn number 6 and 7. Keeping it nice and flowing. Looks like a pretty clean lap so far from the Brit. Now into turns 9 and 10, 4th gear, being sure to be nice and gentle on the power. It's all about that exit as you make your way around the top of the lake into probably the 2 hardest corners on the entire track. Stryfium, turns 11 and 12, 7th gear, left and then right. You're hanging on for dear life and hoping that the car doesn't step out from you. Down into sector 3, here we go, turn 13, a nice 90-degree right-hander, and then the fast right-hand up of turn 14 into the heavy braking zone of turn 15 around the 70-meter board, or the 70-meter mark for that slow left-hander. And then this final corner, a very deceptively challenging corner, very hard to get right, but Adam here seems to have nailed it. And what's the first time going to be? It's a 1 minute 19.7 to start us off here for this Tier 3 qualifying session.
Very good time out of him, a 1:19.7. Gadwin, second quickest now across the line. He was a 1:23.96. Linus in the Ferrari, my teammate for this season in the combined constructors, coming in 4th position as it's Squid in the Williams, a 1:20 flat coming out of him with Alex Bud, his teammate, 5th across. However, it's Maka in the Haas pushing him back into 7th. With all of the cars now getting those times across the board, things are tightening up already. A gap from Adam, and down to 5th is a 2nd. But of course, these are all banker times, and I have a feeling we're going to see this tighten up quite quickly here by the halfway point of this qualifying net.
Yeah, we're just currently riding on board with Dirk Chocolate as he makes his way through Sector 3, one of the favourites here sure he has a lot of fans both in his stream and in this one, but he's actually run a little bit wide at the exit strip of turn 13. So that will be an invalid lap for the McLaren driver, and that is probably the last thing that he wanted to start off his season.
A lot of nerves running through everybody, ourselves, the drivers. It is the first race, not just the first round, the first race of the season. And that puts a lot of pressure in itself. And of course, everyone here viewing along with us in the stream is going to be putting that pressure just the same in the chat. Of course, Dirk, he just needs to keep his head down. A lot of these drivers just need to focus up on what's in front of them, and that's the road ahead. Unicorn now in the Renault. He crosses the line, 12th position. I imagine he'll be getting a good old thanks from Renault for that one, but he'll want to get even quicker into that top 10, Mick.
Yeah, 1 minute 21.4 from the Renault driver, so not a bad effort to start us off. And I believe that was Cactus coming across the line to set himself into 5th place with a 1 minute 20.571. But Atom there at the top there, that first lap that we rode on board with, a whole 3/10 away from Squid there, who would be provisionally Stryfium, is lining up on that second slot right next to the Alfa Romeo driver. So that is a blistering lap time. I believe it's only 4/10 off the current MRL track record set all the way back in August, I believe, by Chen Jie, reigning Tier 1 champion. So these guys have certainly gone a lot quicker over the 6 or 7 months that this game has been out.
Without a doubt, and this is Tier 3, Mick, and that really does set ourselves up with a big question mark for what we're going to see ourselves across the line here with all these times. For Tier 2, Tier 1, Americas this evening, of course. You have the Asian Pacific Division. There's a lot of improvements all across the community, and we're just super excited to be back racing. And I personally, I love this circuit because it's not just the other guy you got to worry about. You've got that 11-12 chicane, that high-speed chicane can unsettle the car. It's a safety car hotspot. This circuit, we haven't talked too much about safety cars. It does have a high percentage of a safety car possibility, and the drivers are going to know this, as well as the drivers, engineers who are helping them out with strategy, probably paying attention to the stream. Shout out to you guys, because I know some of these racers have you there, and you help them massively because they don't have all of that data.
Yeah, Rutanius now on his first flying lap of the session in that pink Mercedes, making his way through Sector 2 into Turn 8 now, as we now ride on board with the Racing Point into Turn 9. Here we go, third gear using that curb. And at the exit of Turn 10, seems like a pretty tidy lap, but how does he go into the fast chicane of 11 and 12, like you were just mentioning, Strippy? Very, very hard to get right. Let's see how he handles it. Car doesn't quite bite into play as much as he wants, but he keeps it nice and tidy, well within the track limits there. Of course, is his first lap of the session, so he's probably just hoping to get that banker time in. But a very solid effort from the Racing Point so far. Let's see how he goes in this third and final set of the final few corners. Into the penultimate corner he goes, down into second gear, taking a nice apex. It looks pretty tidy so far, but I don't know what the time is going to be. Has to lift a little bit in that final corner. We'll see what the stopwatch says as he crosses the line. It'll be enough for third place, Striffian, with a 1 minute 20.279. And his teammate Moen right behind him, slotting himself into 18th place with a 1 minute 22.2.
Tanius really going to be happy with that time here. He's new in a full-time capacity to the Misfits Racing League. A good chunk of the drivers throughout the grids are. And we've got Dunk on You, we've got Linus, we've got Razor, back row. Even Unicorn in a driving capacity. Of course, most would be used to hearing him coming over the sound waves as well. We've got Dirk, who was in the European division, who has been put into Tier 3. A lot of people were like, wow, that's crazy. And that's just really a testament to how quick things have gotten. But you look at Rutanius coming here, 20.279, just within 2/10 of that front row. He'll be very happy with that for a first lap through. Now there's only 2 drivers remaining to get laps across, Dirk being one of them. Arrow 28 in the Mercedes, presently on what would seem like an invalidated run, Nick.
Yeah, very, very unfortunate for the Mercedes. We're just currently having a look at Yasko as he's making his way on his second flying lap of the session. Into Sector 3, here he goes. We're right on board with the Red Bull driver. Into the final few corners. He's got a little bit of traffic ahead of him, so hopefully it doesn't affect him too much. Maka looks like he's starting Here's the next flying lap. Maybe a bit of dirty air for the Red Bull driver coming through that final corner. But all that matters is what that stopwatch says at the end. It is an improvement by half a second, Strippian, but it's only really good enough for P6. Not too shabby from the Red Bull driver, but there's certainly a bit of time left on the table there.
Definitely a lot of time left on the table. Someone who's going to be going to find time. Mr. Dirk, he's on an outlap. He's just coming into Sector 3 now. And one thing I want to take a moment to mention, big shout out to Mr. Yoda. Thank you very much for the 7-month resub at Tier 1. And of course, Mr. PW Jones 19. Thank you very much for the Prime subscription. We greatly appreciate all of the support from the chat, from the stream. Everyone that's followed along today, thank you for being here.
Yeah, dunk on you while we were going all over that. It was actually the second driver to break into the 1 minute 19s with the 1 minute 19.987. We'll now run on board with one of your teammates there, Razor, in that Scarlet Red Ferrari as he makes his way into the final couple of corners of the lap, down into second gear for the penultimate corner, turn 15, and up through what is officially known, I believe, as Frost, as the official last corner name around Albert Park. What's the time going to be for the Ferrari? It's an improvement, but it's only good enough to shoot him up one place to put himself right behind his teammate with a 1 minute 20.829. But he isn't done well enough to get himself ahead of Fubar, which also is a very, very familiar name in this community, Striff.
Yeah, Fubar, he's had quite the history with us here in the MRL. I do believe we had one member join the session. If you happen to be following along with us, and oh, never mind. Thank you very much for leaving the session. Greatly appreciate that, so that the drivers can get back in if they had a disconnect of any kind. Now, as you were saying, Fubar in the Haas, he's coming through out of... Oh, Mick. I just spoiled it, didn't I?
I think
on
you
the way
might
into
have.
the pit lane. Yeah, Mr. Fubar on the way into the pit lane. Not going to be happy about that. Adam, well, Adam McCall is further cementing that pole position as he has increased that time to a 19.455. Current gap from first down to, well, to 8th position is just less than a second on this grid right now. Dirk Chocolate says hello in the McLaren. Ladies and gentlemen, Dirk Chocolate has entered the building with a 2/10 off the leader time here. It is a 19.671 from the McLaren.
To think at the start of Season 3, Striffy, when the game was only 3 weeks old, when it was released to the public, we were struggling to get into the 19s in Tier 1. This is Tier 3, and we're only a 10th. Actually, I think it's actually close to a half a 10th off of the MRL track record already, and there's actually an Alfa Romeo spun around. That's Lovell at the exit of turn 12, so he seems to have had a bit of an issue. He's actually been disqualified from the session, so extremely unfortunate there for the Alfa Romeo driver. One of them in pole position, the other one down in last place. You could say, Striff, if you want. It's a very, very large Alfa Romeo sandwich at the moment.
It's a very, very tight matchup. Very tight matchup. I have received word from Mr. Alex Budd that he has had a disconnect due to a power outage in his end, so hopefully he will be able to make it back in ahead of the race. Very unfortunate when connections and technical issues plague the racers, but he has, as I say it, and as I've received word, gotten back into the session. Great to see Alex back. We have 5 minutes remaining, according to our clock in the top left, for this qualifying session. And that is, of course, now the time that I would like to ask, who are your favorites, ladies and gentlemen, for the top 5, or even better yet, the podium in this Tier 3 opening round for Season 4?
I mean, you got to say, with the lap times that we're seeing from Adam and Dirt Chocolate, they have got to be happy with that one. Undertaker, he was on a flying lap, but he decides to pull it into the pit lane. So I believe the next driver who's on a flying lap would be Rutanius, going on his next run. But he's actually run wide at turn 4, Stripping, and that's another invalidation. This track very, very narrow, and there's lots of spots where these drivers have to watch those yellow lines for those track limits.
This track can be so unforgiving because in some of these sections, if you don't take those narrow lines, you could end up in a wall with a spin just as easily, most definitely during a qualifying session when you're pushing to your absolute maximum.
Yeah, I don't think actually any drivers are currently on a valid flying lap at the moment. We'll ride on board with Yaskos for a little bit. As I eat my words, he's 3/10 up. heading into the
He's
final
a
sector.
lion.
This looks like it could be a good improvement if he's able to keep that. He will be right next to his teammate there on the third row of the grid. But it all depends on how this final sector goes. He has a little bit of traffic ahead of him in the form of, I think that would be Routanius heading into the pit lane. A bit of a lock up there on the front left heading into turn 15, but out of 16 looks nice and tidy. What's the time going to be, Strifium? DRS wide open, up into 8th gear, approaching 300k. It's enough to put himself into 6th place, right ahead of his teammate with a 1 minute 20.086. So a very, very solid effort from both of the Red Bull drivers in this session so far.
Yeah, I have to say, Red Bull's looking strong here early in this qualifying, being so tightly, well, they're tight with one another realistically in that 6 and 7. Yasko, with a lot of experience driving the MRL from seasons past, he'll have a very good idea what to expect in this opening race, as will Adam and Dirk, Squid. The guys that have experience in the league, they know what to expect. There are new guys on this grid who aren't going to have just as much experience. But I will say this, the newcomers and the experienced drivers, Mikael, and I'm sure you can agree, they are scattered in and amongst one another like a big puzzle that is just waiting to be solved in this timing tower.
Yeah, we're currently riding on board with Mo, and currently last of the time setters with a 1 minute 22.2. But I do believe he is on for a significant improvement if he's able to keep this lap together. Heading into the final couple of corners now is the Racing Point driver, making his way through the final corner now. Is he able to replicate that amazing performance that he had in the F2 finale race just a couple of days ago? He's able to improve, but it's only good enough to put him up one spot into a 18th with 1 minute 21.621. As I do believe that most of the drivers now are currently going out for their final flying laps of the session. So let's have a look at Arrow 28 as he makes his way towards the fast chicane strip.
This chicane can be so troublesome for some drivers. You see, he's actually a little bit deep coming through the chicane, compromises his exit out of turn 12 here. But now, on the run with the DRS wide open on that rear wing into 13th turn here. This is where he goes down to 4th. You can almost keep it in 5th there, but it's a preference for a lot of these drivers. Now you're coming out of turn 15. Actually, excuse me, 14, 15. Here we go. Now we're coming through into the final turn where this is a difficult traction zone as well. But he keeps it all right. And what is the time going to be? DRS on the rear wing, open down the straight. Does he improve? He improves massively, and that is the Mercedes into 7th position, Mick.
Yeah, very, very nice effort from him. Razor actually retiring at the exit of turn 12, and I think he's actually crashed out of the session.
Moen has the look. Yeah, it looks like that's a terminal retirement for the Ferrari. The Scuderia not going to be happy about that.
I can just see him there on the right-hand side there. But looks like Dirt Chocolate actually has invalidated his lap, but Squid is on for his final lap of the session, as there's a lot of drivers all the way down this grid. Although we'll do our best to try and see who will be the first one to come across the line. Right on board with
now in the Ferrari. What's he able to do here? Does he improve? It looks like he may have had an issue coming out on that outlap. Looks like he's just begun another flyer now coming out of turn 2.
sorry, not Gadwin, Undertaker coming across the line. Improves to 12th place with a 1 minute 20.5 as the session timer ticks down for this first qualifying of MRL season number 4. And as the clock hits 0, that is it. So these drivers will all be able to complete the laps they are currently on. But after that, that is it. The checkered flag has dropped now. Looks like we have a Renault going slowly in sector 3. I believe that is Dunk on You. Just letting some cars through. But Cactus, the Albanian, will be the first to cross the line to set his final lap time of the session. Is it going to be an improvement? Yes, it is. A 2% improvement to put himself right next to his teammate. A very, very nice effort from him now. Squid coming across the line. Has he done enough to improve? He improves, but not enough. Dirk Chocolate will stay on that second row. At least Squid unable to break into that front row.
Adam. You know, Adam was a driver who nobody saw coming in this division until I think it was yesterday. And this man has now come through and taken pole position.
It's not just that, Striff. He's taken the new MRL track record around Albert Park, a 1 minute 19.144. An absolute,
track record.
absolutely stellar stuff from the Alfa Romeo driver. Very, very nice effort indeed. And I do believe, Strifium, with that, we have our grid for the first race of the season.
Dirk Chocolate, he came into voice chat today in the MRL Discord. He was talking a big talk, Mikal. Adam, really, really making himself look good in that Alfa Romeo. Dirk's got some work to do. Squid just behind Dirk, going to be putting some pressure on. This grid is tight. It is extremely tight. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Tier 3, where the gap from 1st to 10th is a second, and the gap within the entirety of the grid is just 2 seconds. And this is a nice circuit where DRS can play a role.
Yeah, so Adam, with that blistering lap time with a 1 minute 19.144, will cement himself in pole position. Dirt Chocolate will be lining up alongside him in that McLaren, only, well, actually a very significant gap of half a second behind. So a great, great effort from Atom in this qualifying session. Squid will line up in 3rd. Maka with a great effort in 4th. Backrow in 5th. Dunk on You will line up in 6th. Rotanius in 7th. Yasko in 8th. Arrow in 9th. And Cactus will round off the top 10 in this one. And we will, of course, go through the rest of the grid with you on the formation lap.
Thank you very much to everybody who has been following along in the stream. We are greatly appreciative of you being here with us for some racing action. Big shout out to, of course, Tier 1 MRL driver, Mr. Ace Ritchie. Greatly appreciate the raid of 6. Welcome to the party. We are just about to get things going here. The formation lap is on the horizon.
Yeah, so the driver's now just sitting there on the grid, finalizing their strategies, their fuel loads, and any last-minute setup changes that they wish to do. And we will then have 29 laps of, hopefully, very, very hard, very, very intense racing, and very, very clean racing as well. Albert Park is notorious for its common lap 1 safety cars, and I'm sure you can speak from experience, Striff. It can be very, very hard to navigate that first complex of corners on the opening lap.
Well, I definitely can say we had some practices around here this week. We had some issues through this first sector. Now, a lot of these drivers, the nerves, they're going to play a role again that first race. Hopefully the formation lap helps them calm down a little bit. It could also have the adverse effect, Mikal, at least in my experience, as everybody just wants to go and get into racing action. Once again, Adam, Dirk Chocolate, and Squid, your top 3 here. Maka, 4th. Backrow in 5th. Dunk on You, 6th. Rotania, 7th. Yasko in 8th. Arrow in 9th, with Cactus rounding out the top 10 in the Mercedes. The Mercedes there rounding out that middle row, 9 and 10. Undertaker and Gadwin in the Alpha Tauris are just behind them. Linus in 13th. Alex in 14th. We have Damon here in the McLaren, 15th position. Unicorn 16th. Razor, once again, he's in 17th position. Fubar 18th. Moen in 19th. And Lavelle with the unfortunate disqualification in the qualification. He is in 20th. Now, Mikal, let's take a look at these tires. I see mediums.
Yeah, so of course the top 10 are required by the sporting regulations to start on the same set of tires that they used to set their best lap in the session just gone by. But the back 10 have a free choice, and we actually have a fairly even split if we go down this grid. So we have Gadwin, Linus, Damon, Razor, Fubar, and Lovell, all on that yellow stripe medium tire. So they're looking to go a bit longer in this first stint and hope for maybe a safety car to play into their hands and go for that overcut and have that fresher and softer rubber at the end of this race. The rest of the grid, just keep it fairly standard on those red stripe soft compound tires. It is a fairly easy one stop around here, whether that be to the hards or to the mediums for these soft runners. But for those who are trying this soft medium, they will need to manage their tires a fair bit. And Strifium, as I'm seeing our 2 front row sitters, Atom and Dirt Chocolate, make their way to their grid slots. The adrenaline is rising. We are back. Finally, it's been a long month. It's been a long 4 weeks, but we are back with some more Misfits Racing League action, and I absolutely cannot wait for this race start.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's have your predictions in the chat. Safety car predictions, podium predictions, retirement predictions. We want to see it all, and we'll get some polls going for you just in a short moment. But it is time, as Mikal has said, for us to get going here in Albert Park as Lavelle, the final driver to approach the grid, has taken his position. Mikal, take us away.
So 3, 4, 5 red lights ahead of the drivers to start off MRL Season 4. It's lights out and away we go. Looks like most of the grid getting off to a pretty decent start. Looks like Adam has gone away well into turn 1. Dirt Chocolate now going side by side with Squid, but they're keeping it nice and tidy through. There's a Red Bull off into the grass. That's back row. He's losing quite a few positions there, but all the drivers able to navigate their way through turns 1 and 2 cleanly at the moment. Strifium now back row. He's looking around the outside of the Mercedes heading into turn 3. And there is a massive shuffle of position. Lots of side-by-side action going on all over this grid at the moment. I have absolutely no idea where to look. Everyone's so close, but what is clear to see from this map is that the top 2 have already made a significant gap to Maka and the rest of the field.
Well, not only have they made a significant gap to the rest of the field here, Mikhail, but Adam has made a significant gap to Dirk Chocolate in himself.
And we have a safety car.
Has one goal here. And I'm not entirely sure why that safety car was deployed.
I think it was
like there was a collision coming through turn 10.
Yeah,
no drivers are retired.
Yeah, I think Rutanius, he had a bit of an issue with, I think it was Arrow at the exit of turn 8. Both of them going onto the grass and losing their front wings. But that is, we were talking about it during qualifying, Striff. That lap 1 safety car is certainly a possibility around here, and it has shown its ugly head once again. But, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just glad that we are back racing. But this safety car is absolutely dreadful for Atom and Dirt Chocolate because they had an amazing start off the line. Yeah. Already pulling, I think it was about a 1.2 second gap to the drivers behind. And we have a few drivers in the pits already, Strifium, maybe to repair some damage, but I'm not quite sure. Maybe they want to get off of those tires that they started on.
A lot of wings getting grabbed here in the pit lane. A ton. I'm seeing Linus right now. He's getting a front wing. We got Rutanius. He's in the Racing Point. He's getting a front wing. Even the Renault of Unicorn. He's getting a front wing. So a lot of issues, a lot of debris coming off those front ends in that opening lap. And I think a lot of these drivers are going to be very thankful for the safety car. But as you said, those drivers in that top 10 that started on these soft compound tires, they're not in a very good position, as Alex Budd has had an unfortunate issue once again. We'll see if we can't get him an invite back to the session. But we are under safety car conditions. And I am very much of the belief, as I've always said, for the now 2 past seasons of MRL, that safety cars can breed safety cars here. It does give you a unique restart in that rolling restart capacity, but everybody is looking for early positions. There's older tires, fresher tires in the equation at that point. There's pace just trapped within the grid. So there's a very, very large likelihood for more safety cars to come out of this, especially when you're coming through turns 1 and 2, 3 and 4. Of course, you've got that turn 5 right-hander on the exit, and then we have the 11-12 chicane. So I'm really keen to see how the drivers do with this safety car. I don't know if it was entirely warranted to get that safety car, but we do what we do with what the game gives us. Of course, that timing tower now is going to be updating nicely. That is a known bug, unfortunately. Every now and then that timing tower wants to have a little bit of a shuffle, but with this safety car, we are going to get that all dialed in, and we'll have a very clear picture of who is where once we're in the running.
Yeah, so after that first lap, Atom was able to retain his lead fairly comfortably, I might add, from the first half a lap of green flag running. Dirt Chocolate able to maintain his position in second. Maka making his way up into third, and we'll just have a quick look at the position changes. So Maka making up 1 place. Dunk on You has made up 2 places. So a great effort there from the Renault driver. Back row as well, making his just holding station there in 5th. So not the best start, but not terrible either. Just staying there in 5th place in those points-paying positions. And the 2 Mercedes both making up some ground, as well as the 2 AlphaTaurias, which I'm very glad to see there. And Razor as well, making up 7 places. Almost being the largest winner out of that one, but however, that prize does have to go to Lovell with all of those pit stops. Lovell there being at the back was able to avoid all of that carnage in the midfield, and it certainly has paid off for him on this occasion, Striff.
Yeah, I'd say so. I'd say so for sure. I'm really, really curious to see where these soft runners are going to land, specifically Adam and Dirk. They had such a gap at the start of this race. They just took off, and Adam was pulling away from Dirk. I want to see if Dirk has a better launch on this rolling restart to keep with Adam. It could be that we had Adam with a better jolt off the line, but we don't know just yet. But we're now at that equalized position once again here on lap 3 now. Really quickly, if you are just tuning into the stream and you didn't catch the announcement at the beginning, of course, once again, we're extremely happy to announce that we've entered partnership with none other than the global sim racing rig leader, Next Level Racing. So join us in saying welcome to Next Level Racing as we enter that partnership, and we're going to have a ton of fantastic stuff coming to you here for season 4 with Next Level Racing. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, so back to the race at hand. The safety car has been called in at the end of lap 3, so Atom now will become the de facto safety car and lead them away. He will set the pace for this restart. And a rolling start is a lot different to a standing start, I can tell you that much, Shrifium. The strategy here, just trying to get the jump on his nearest rival, Dirt Chocolate, because if these two are able to pull a gap like they did at the start of the race, then it'll very easily become a 2-horse race. And I can't wait to see how it goes. But Adam now, we're riding on board with Dirt Chocolate. It looks like Adam, he's pinned the throttle. Has a little bit of a snap out of the final corner, but no drivers yet finding many issues. And we are finally green flag racing once again, ladies and gentlemen. Adam will lead them away into turn 1, followed by Dirt Chocolate, Macca, Dunk on You, back row, Cactus, Arrow, Undertaker, Gadwin, and Razor heading into the first corner. And not a lot of position change. We see Alex Bud there going back into the pit lane. But all these gaps sort of hovering around that half a second mark. No one really going for any desperate lunges as of yet. They make their way through the fast part of Sector 1, heading into the start of Sector 2. All these gaps are very, very close. Knock on You, only a couple of tenths behind Macca, but more importantly for these front two, they have been able to pull away slightly, but nowhere near as much as the first start strip.
Something I want to take your attention to, Mikau, Squid, and Rotanius, two of the drivers that came into the pit lane quite early here, are currently hunting down the Alfa Romeo driver of Lavelle coming into the 11-12 chicane, and Squid is right on his gearbox. Rotanius not leaving much space himself, and these drivers are in it for the points. Rotanius with a little bit of a slide out on the exit of 12. That can cost you. Diasco, he's had an issue outside of 11-12 as well. The Red Bull done a 180 around the corner. He gets things spun around. Where is Alex Bud in the situation? Far too far behind at the moment to catch up with the Red Bull, but that has cost Diasco absolutely massive in that Red Bull, as Dirt Chocolate now claims the fastest lap on this restart, a 1:24.546 for the moment. He is still within half a second of Adam in the Alfa Romeo.
Yeah, but this time they have the Haas driver of Macca sticking with them. He's only a couple of tenths behind them as well, but that first 1 second gap appears to be forming between the Haas and the Renault of Macca and Dunk on You respectively. But behind that Renault, there is a massive, massive train all within that 1 second gap.
Damon and Unicorn, Mikko, I'm terribly sorry to interrupt. Coming through the third turn through 4 now. Damon was having a look at Unicorn. Soft versus hards here. Unicorn's got a penalty, and just up ahead the road, Squid still within half a second of Lavelle. He was looking for a move into turn 3 as well, but nothing was doing just yet. And there is so much intensity up and down this grid right now. Rutanius is very tight to Squid coming into the 10th turn.
Yeah, riding on board now with the Racing Point driver. You can just see he's used a lot of that battery already down to 29-30%. As we have another yellow flag, that's one of the AlphaTauris, that's Gadwin. And he has lost it into the wall at the exit of turn 12. So you hate to see it, but that is the AlphaTauri around. And he's actually been disqualified for going the wrong way, Strifium.
Oh no, so he was trying to get the car back on circuit. The stewards thought otherwise, and they have given him a disqualification. That is extremely unfortunate, and it's the last thing you want to see. Adam now trading fastest laps with Dirt Chocolate. He comes in with a 24 flat, McCow, to really push the bar here. Dirk's fastest lap was a 5.46. Adam's just shy of a dead time on that 124.
Oh, Undertaker looking up the inside of Arrow, heading into turn 3. He takes a grasp of it. He has that inside line there side by side, these two making their way through turns 3 and 4. But Arrow, after making that move down into turn 1, has been able to keep that place. And that is the Mercedes now up into 7th place, right behind his teammate of Cactus, just a few seconds up the road. And we have another retirement now, and that's one of the Ferraris. That's Linus at turn 2, and we have the second safety car. Not a virtual, but a full safety car of this race.
I have to say, this, if Alex Budd has enough of an opportunity to catch up with some of these guys here, he could be in a very, very interesting position as he came in at the end of that safety car restart for fresh mediums. Everybody else on this grid is on older tires, excuse me. You look at these drivers on the softs, this is a very unique position this puts them in now. Adam, the leader of this race, will be the first person to push the dominoes, and how will they fall? Will he come into the pit lane here? That is one of the biggest questions, and there it is. Off the softs he comes. He is going to switch tires. Where does Dirk land? He's following him in, and I imagine that we are going to see the entirety of the soft grid move in. We're going to see a little bit of a double stack coming out of the Mercedes garage here as well in the top 10. But I think it's better yet to take that double stack than to have to come in a lap later. Now, penalties have just played a role here as well. Maka, I think he caught it as well, Mick. When he came in, he took 5 seconds. And there were a variety of other drivers on this grid that had 5-second penalties upon entering the pit lane, which means those are going to get scrubbed off as well.
My goodness, that pit lane is so busy. All but, I believe, 4 drivers have entered the pits. So the pit crew's in there going absolutely nuts, and to basically no one's surprised, the entire grid opting for those hard compound tires that should make it to the end of this race. But the interesting thing here is the strategy call from the Haas crew. That's Maka, who did come in, and he was having a wonderful race. He's put on a set of medium Striffium.
It's a bold move. He was on the softs. Could be looking for a soft, medium. Could be playing at a possible soft, medium, soft, depending on what he's got at his disposal here. You never know what happens with these safety car situations. You have a maximum of 5 safety cars at your disposal in a 50% distance race, if I'm not mistaken. And that can be either utilized in both VSCs or full safety cars. And we're only on lap 7 right now. There is a lot of time left in this race, a lot of racing left in this campaign. And there's always opportunities.
Yeah, there are plenty of opportunities left for these drivers. We're only 6 laps into this, currently on the 7th lap of 29, and we've had 2 full safety cars now, including this one. So, certainly getting things off to a slow start, but no, like I said before, I'm just glad that we have some racing. Very, very unfortunate for the 2 DNFs. Actually, ironically, one from each of our own respective teams, Striffium. But aside from that, very unfortunate to see both Linus and Gadwin out of this one so early. I know that both of them were really looking forward to the start of the season, and to see it end so soon on this first round is really, really unfortunate.
There's always issues in these races, and sometimes, well, there's 22 races a season, Mick. And I imagine a lot of the drivers now, anyone that may be retired in this race, they're looking ahead for Bahrain already.
They get the laps in early. They will have a whole week to prepare their strategies and setups for Bahrain. But enough about that. We are still here in Albert Park underneath this safety car. Fubar getting very, very close to the back of Unicorn there at the exit of turn 3. Safety car going probably a bit slower than the drivers are anticipating. But the 3 drivers who did not pit for the safety car are actually the top 3 at the moment. That's Squid and Unicorn on those 6-lap-old hards that they went on to after their lap 1 incidents, as well as Fubar on those 6-lap-old medium tires. The rest of the grid, Striff, has pitted already, and I think are trying to make it all the way to the end of this race. I don't know about Maka there in 6th place, but if the safety car stays out for another lap, it might be possible to stretch those mediums to the end, but they certainly won't be providing a lot of grip for the last 5 laps. And we just get the call from race control now that the safety car will indeed be coming in at this lap.
Look at this. Alex Budd on the freshest mediums on this grid. I looked at the position changes. Fubar's having one heck of a drive considering where he's landed himself in that 3rd position. He's on the mediums as well, 6 laps old. If he gets a safety car soon, he could go to hards, to the end of this race potentially. And that would end for him, if he finished in the top 10, a very, very long streak of pointsless races.
Yeah, the German having a very, very long drought from the scoreboard. But Squid now, he's backing up the field so much, just waiting for the opportunity to go. Unicorn's right on his tail, and Squid pulls it out of the far corner now. We are racing, and it looks like Unicorn has read that almost perfectly, but not as bad as...
A massive issue, Mikkel! There's been a massive issue, Mikkel, in the rear of this grid! Oh no! Dirk Chocolate is out of this race, and I'm afraid that was a multi-car collision with nearly 5 drivers collected. I have no idea what to say about this.
Fubar's out too.
2 drivers out. Fubar is out of this race as well. And that is not the debut race I know the McLarens wanted to have, that's for sure.
Yeah, Dirk out of this
Squid
race.
Unicorn.
Yeah, Dirk.
Oh my.
Wow. Well,
the stewards are back at work.
Well, it's like they say, anything can happen in Formula One, and oftentimes it normally does. That is a very, very unfortunate retirement there. But I'm sure Atom in that Alfa Romeo cockpit is absolutely loving that. His main competitor that he had from qualifying is now out of this race, and he now has the opportunity to just run away with this one strip if he's able to keep that pace that he showed in qualifying. But meanwhile, there's a massive fight going on in the middle stages of this grid. Maka having a massive mistake into the 12 chicane, and Moen will get both of them up the inside of turn 12. Now Damon plays using that overtake and slipstream to get past him as well, heading into turn 13. What a move from the racing point.
Razor in that Ferrari had a big issue there. Maka, he's struggling right now. He's got some damage, it would appear, on that front end, and that compromised his run through that chicane. He's missing a major portion of that front wing, both sides. He's actually on his way into the pit lane now, and the Ferrari Razor will take 15th as a result. But that was something else to see coming through that fast speed chicane of 11 and 12 here now. Yasko within half a second of Lavelle, hunting down that final points position. Not too much else doing in the points right now other than Adam chasing down Unicorn and by extension Squid on those older hards ahead.
Yeah, it looks like Atom is getting very, very close to the rear of that Renault. Of course, he is in the net lead of this race, but he really wants to pass this Renault as soon as he can because, you know, with no disrespect to the Renault driver, he actually has a massive issue out of turn 10. He needs to hit the wall, and that has let Adam through. Now back row as well will make his way down the inside, heading into turn 11. And Unicorn now is race. I don't see any damage on that front wing.
He's clean.
Well, yeah, both end plates intact, but that was certainly a very, very scary moment. And Arrow now a bit further down, starting to put Undertaker under threat for that 6th place as well, Striff.
We've seen a lot of position changes and we've seen a lot of drama right now. I don't think anybody expected Dirk Chocolate or Fubar to be out of this race on the restart. And now we've had a little bit of a it's Linus. He's left the session now. Unfortunate for him and the Ferrari to retire. As these drivers cross the line, DRS is back.
Oh, there's a spin! There's a spin! That's Lovell at the last corner! Lovell has completely lost it there. Luckily, he waits for all of the cars to pass by, but we're riding on board with the Alfa Romeo driver, and he just lost the rear. Those tires not quite up to temperature just yet, and they just slid. There's no rear grip in that car, and the rear just said, "Nope, I'm not having any of this. I want to go into the pits." But so very, very unfortunate for him. But Atom has been able to almost put out a second gap on back row already within the lap. And this field's starting to spread itself out a little bit, but the closest gap on track at the moment is currently this battle for 7th place. Or I guess I should say 6th place, because Arrow is also slowly but surely catching the AlphaTauri of Undertaker Strip.
These guys are in a little train of their own right now. Meanwhile, Cactus coming out of the 11-12 chicane. DRS wide open on that rear wing. He's hunting down Unicorn coming into 13. Does he have a look down the inside here? It's tight. Unicorn has that outside line and he gets the defense done. But Cactus is barking up that rearview mirror, and the big question is, will he get this move into turn 1 or will Unicorn pit here? Very tight coming through the 15th turn for the Mercedes.
There's a spin, another loss.
Out.
Arrows had a bit of a mistake there. He was completely sideways at the penultimate corner. Rutanis has the slam on the brakes in order to avoid hitting the Mercedes and giving himself damage. So that has relieved the pressure from Undertaker, sort of. And Undertaker actually has been making his way slowly but surely onto the back of Cactus and Unicorn. And now Cactus looking around the outside of turn 3. on the Renault driver, but Unicorn having that inside line gets a much better run through. He's trying to hold it around the outside of turn 4, and Cactus can't find a way through just yet. Great driving from these two.
Cactus isn't going to be thrilled he didn't get that done there. He's not going to be thrilled about that, and the big question is, will we see another opportunity taken from Cactus into that 13th turn? They're hunting. Well, Cactus is hunting down Unicorn coming into the 10th turn here, the right-hander, as we come through now. This is where things are going to get tricky for these drivers. The gap is less than half a second. The gap is the closest on grid right now, with the exception of Undertaker, looking at all of this just behind. And if Cactus doesn't watch it, he just might get scooped up by this AlphaTauri here.
Yeah, so, well, no overtaking effect for the AlphaTauri, but Cactus, he gains so much on that Renault in that third and final DRS straight of the lap. But you can just see on that track map on the right-hand side, all these drivers in little clumps, if you will. Little battles here and there. We have the one for the lead for the top 3, and then we have that one for 4th, and then there's another one back for 7th, and then back for the final points place as well, Strip.
Cactus with a big cut kind of coming through that second turn there. Curious to see if he took a warning on that, but right now he's just hunting down Unicorn, this time looking at the inside, but he gets on the brakes. He's looking to try and force an air out of Unicorn, but he can't take too long trying to do that. Penalties for both of these drivers. Undertaker smells the blood.
Yeah, meanwhile, behind them in this battle for the final points place, Moen is starting to put a lot of pressure on the other Renault of Dunk on You, as he's making his way around the second sector now. Gap's starting to spread out a little bit across the street, and we're now, I think, seeing how difficult it is to actually overtake around this track. But while this is all going on, Atom and Back Row have been surely putting in the laps. They are within DRS range of Squid at the moment now, Strip.
Squid's under major threat considering the pace that we've seen from the Alfa Romeo squad, and Adam Lavelle having his issues, unfortunately, but Adam doing a great job for the squad here in the opening round of this campaign right now. Squid, he's a part of a very large organization in that Williams team. They have quite the lineup for this season in the combined constructors. I can guarantee you Yoda is in this man's ear, and of course Yoda, many will know him as the runner-up in the Tier 1 division, as Dunk on You comes into the pit lane now in the Renault squad, and it looks like he is going to be getting a wing change and a fresh set of rubber, Mick.
Yeah, it looks like he is. So that's one Renault out of this, but looks like a Cactus. He was able to get past Unicorn on that previous lap, but all that fighting with the Renault driver has allowed both Arrow and Rutanius to catch right up to the back of the AlphaTauri of Undertaker, currently sitting in that 6th place. And these guys are going super hard at it. Rutanius, he's so close to the back of this Mercedes. He's looking for a move. Does he go for the move here at turn 9? Yes, he does. He goes for a send down the inside of the Mercedes, and he gets it pulled up.
Lunge.
What a move from the other Racing Point. We saw a beautiful move from Moa. Now Rutanius saying, nah, I can do one better, and he moves himself back into 7th place. But did he do it a bit too soon now? He's gotten a great run out of the fast chicane of 11 and 12. I don't think Arrow's going to have enough to really make a move. There's a yellow flag in Sector 3. I think that's Atom! That's Atom's around!
Oh no. What a superlative drive he was having. He was doing all of the right things. Now he's got to let some cars go by here. He's trying to get himself back on circuit. He's had a little bit of a slide once again, getting back things. Oh no, Mick, he's got to get in for that wing. That wing is done. That wing is completely totaled, and now things have gone from great to absolutely terrible for this man's race.
And the cherry on top for that cake of disappointment, he gets a 5-second time penalty for speeding into the pit lane as well.
No, I'm going to take this time. I'm going to take this quick moment to sneak it in here. Derek Chocolate, thank you so much for the raid. We greatly appreciate the support, sir. And we're very, very sad to see you out of this one early. You were having a fantastic race. You'll get him in Bahrain. Thanks, guys. Rutania is still hunting. The train is in formation, Mick, and they're coming into turn 10. Undertaker having a look up the inside. Does he look for it on Unicorn? He looks, but he doesn't take it. Rutania says, I can make that move all day, Undertaker. If you want to keep tempting fate, I'll take it from you next time. So things are locked in, but Unicorn doing a very good job to hold these guys off.
Yeah, Unicorn is giving us a defensive masterclass at the moment, but with DRS and overtake from the AlphaTauri. Do he go for the move now? He goes up the inside of the Renault into turn 13. He still has that overtake on at the exit, but Unicorn is able to keep them behind, and now Rutanius is right on the back of this AlphaTauri, as well as Yasko, and there's a massive, massive pile-up. Well, not a pile-up, but a massive train behind this Renault at the moment. Rutanius now with the overtake and DRS, and he's right on the back of this AlphaTauri. If Undertaker's not capable, Rutanius, he's shown his stability dive bombs in the past. He gets so close to the back, and there's a tap! Undertaker is out of this race!
I don't know if it was a tap or if he lost it and Rutanius tried to correct. I was on board with the racing point, and this has caused us a VSC on lap 16. Undertaker out of this race. Stewards will have to review. Of course, the onboards will be requested for that one, but I really don't know. In the moment there, Mikau, it looked like it might have just been Undertaker getting shaky on that exit curb, but then again, Rutanius was barking up his gearbox so tight, and they both wanted that position.
Yeah, it's just hard racing, I'm afraid, and that sometimes these things happen. But it's really, really unfortunate to see yet another driver out of this race. We are now down to 15 runners on lap 16. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining us, this is the first race of MRL Season 4. It is the Tier 3 division around the Albert Park circuit in Melbourne, Australia. But we have green flag racing once again. No drive-throughs to speak of, and Rutanius, he's still on that hunt. Yasko now is the next on the hit list. Does he go for the move? No, he doesn't, but he forces Yasko into a mistake. A massive lock up there on the front right for the Red Bull driver. But he's still unable to find a way through just yet.
Well, you got to keep in mind the tire differential here, and he's got Yasko ahead of him now, and he doesn't want Yasko there. He wants to be back where Unicorn is. And Unicorn's on these 14-lap-old hards, keeping Yasko at bay. As we say that, though, Yasko up the inside into turn 1. Does he get the move done? It's a very clean inside move, but he's taken a 3-second time penalty on the exit. And that's going to impact them both, because Unicorn's got 3 seconds, Yasko's got 3 seconds, and Rutanius now around the outside of turn 3 on Unicorn. Does he get it done?
Oh, Unicorn
on the outside now. There's been a little bit of a wheel bang, and he is gone. He is retired into the wall, and that is the Renault now out of this race, and that is 14 drivers remaining here in the opening round of Tier 3, Mick. And that is not what the Renaults wanted to see for Unicorn at all.
No, that is another driver out of this race. They're dropping off like flies at the moment, Stryfium. But that's just in the nature of this track. That's the tight nature and the walls being so close. And if you hit the walls at the speeds like that, you're going to blow your front suspension. That's going to be your race over. But very, very unfortunate to see Unicorn, a very, very well-known member in this community, out of this one. But as is always the case of Formula 1, the show must go on, and Alex Budd, out of all of this, has been able to stay out of trouble, and he's made his way back into the point strip, and he's actually looking to mount an attack on the racing point of Moen as they make their way through Sector 3.
You love to see it after having such a dynamic race, to still find yourself in points after such a long campaign. We're 18 laps through this one now, or we've just begun the 18th lap. Of course, if you're just tuning in, this is Tier 3. We've got Tier 2 tomorrow at 8 p.m. GMT / 3 p.m. Eastern Standard. As Alex Budd inside of Moen with a massive dive. He's gone off, Mick. I didn't even think he was going to make the move there, and we just saw that Williams come into view on board with the racing point. But yes, of course, we have the other divisions coming through. Americas tonight, 9 Eastern, 2 a.m. for those in the UK.
Yeah, I think Alex Budd just missed his breaking point by an absolute country mile. He wanted to get that move done on Moen, but just was too eager to get past the racing point and completely missed the breaking point. And as a result, he's now lost a position to Razor in that one sole remaining Ferrari.
Well, I'm happy to see a Ferrari in the points. Razor right now, no penalties. Moen right now, no penalties. Penalties on this grid can always play a role, as we've seen it through Season 3. Now we're here into Season 4, and if we get a late safety car, as we've been accustomed to already in this race, some of those safety cars, this could definitely play a role for a few of those drivers that have gone through this race as clean as they possibly can without penalties.
Yeah, and two of those such drivers are actually the two drivers now battling for the lead. Back row is now within that DRS range of Squid. He's within striking distance. That's about 5.5 tenths between the two leaders at the moment. He gets close, but they both have about the same amount of battery, not really using too much of the overtake with 11 laps to go. Oh, and back row, don't scare me like that one, mate. He touches the inside curve at turn 5 and just loses the rear, but he's able to catch it. A great car control there from the Red Bull to be able to save that one, because that could have been yet the next retirement in this very, well, I'd say very crash-happy race.
One thing I want to take a moment is Adam, currently 11th position. He has 5 seconds that he took on the way into the pit lane after his unfortunate spin. He is on fresh mediums. He's on the freshest tires on this grid. The big question is, in the 10 laps remaining, will he be able to do something about the 10 seconds between him and the points? Because right now, he needs to find a very significant amount of time in order to take that final points position away from Alex Budd.
Well, I think before that we have a battle between Lovell and Dogganu heading into turn 9. The Renault goes up the inside, a massive lockup on both of the front tires, and he's unable to make that move stick out of turns 9 and 10, but he now has a little bit of a run heading up around the top of the lake, heading into turn 11. They're still side by side, heading their way into turn 11. It looks like Lovell concedes for the time being, and neither of them will actually have DRS. I believe they were completely side by side into the detection point, but that is the Renault now up into 12th place, so a very, very nice move from the Renault.
Lavelle, no penalties on him at the moment, which is very, very important, as we said, in these races. Rutanius in the Racing Point, no penalties. He's in 5th position, and it's like you were saying, we have that fight for the win of this race between Squid and Backrow. Squid now 18 laps on those hards. Backrow a little bit more rubber on his set of tires. We'll see how it impacts him, most definitely, with the utilization of DRS and ERS. Squid, half the ERS at his disposal, Mick.
Yes, he is using some of that overtake to try and keep the Red Bull of Backrow behind him. But that DRS is just so powerful. Backrow keeps continuing to keep that gap around the 4 to 5 tenth mark. He's getting that slipstream. He's getting that DRS, and as a result, he's able to save up that battery, charge it back up, so he's able to mount a proper attack in the dying stages of this race. So very, very smart play from the Red Bull. He actually uses a tiny bit of it to try and get the exit speed that he needs, but it isn't going to be quite enough to make a move into turn 1. Squid goes semi-defensive, though. If Backrow is able to get the run out of here, remember Squid is on those 5-lap older, harder compound tires. It looks like Backrow is actually going to try and make the move into turn 3. Around the outside he goes. Squid on the defense on the inside, but the Red Bull, with the grip of the tires, is able to keep it around the inside for turn 4. The Squid, they're still side by side, the 2 leaders, heading into turn 5. And Squid actually forces Backrow slightly off the track, and that is going to be the 3rd warning for the Red Bull driver. 3-second time penalty now for him. And that is, you hate to see it, but a great defense there from Squid when it looked like it was a done move, especially when the Red Bull was able to hold it round the outside through turn 3, Striff.
The big question now that I have is whether or not Squid will be able to hold him off, or at the very least force a couple of other errors out of him before he's overtaken. Squid right now, without a penalty, depending on the tire situation at the final crossing of the line, we'll say, Mick out. Is Squid on for a win here?
I think he is. I think he's really planning to try and take these hards to the end. If he wanted to go for softs, he probably would have done it in the last lap. And by staying out yet another one, yet again, as we're just riding on board with the Red Bull of Backrow, he is now, I think, committed to trying to finish these races on the hards. They're going to have absolutely no life left in them at the end. But with Backrow having that 3-second time penalty, I think he might actually just have the gap. So, yes. Short answer, yes, I think Squid is in with a good chance to win this race, Striff.
Well, Williams drivers, Williams fans, gotta love that opening race of the season. That's right, there's a Williams leading things here in Melbourne. Now, Razor, DRS in utilization, as I say, Cactus. Oh, excuse me, let's jump a little bit further up the grid. Cactus, Rutanius, wheel to wheel coming through turn 3 into turn 4 right now. Rutanius ahead of the Mercedes. Getting that move done, still looking to catch up with the Red Bulls. Cactus on exit through turn 5, Mikal. He just went a little outside, and he took a 3-second time penalty as a result.
Yeah, very, very unfortunate there. Cactus losing 2 positions in the space of 4 corners. So Cactus has a little bit of work to do, especially with that that 3-second time penalty that he just accumulated. But back to this battle for the 8th place at the moment. Razor is right on the gearbox of Moen, and that Ferrari is showing some serious pace at the moment. Strip, is he able to get the exit that he needs? Moen actually getting a slightly better exit than the Ferrari out of turn 10. So I don't know if he's going to be quite close enough to make a move into turn 13. We'll see how the run goes for the Ferrari. He uses that overtake, the DRS. Moen having a little bit of a connection issue on our end of things, but the Ferrari isn't quite close enough to make that lunge as of yet, Strip. But he is putting on so much pressure on this racing point at the moment.
Alex Budd in this train now, and this is crucial for him to be within DRS range, because guess who's barking up his gearbox in a few moments' time? That's right, the former leader of this race, the pole sitter, Adam, in the Alfa Romeo right now. Less than 3 seconds the gap to Alex Budd, and let me tell you, that gap has been closing, as has the gap between Razor and Moen. Wheel to wheel through turns 1 and 2. Moen sticking on that outside line through the inside on 2, keeping that position with a very neat move, and that has exposed Razor to Alex Budd. Will we see it into third turn, Mick? Nothing just yet.
These guys being super patient. They know that they've made it this far. They've seen how many drivers have lost it for just made one large mistake, and that has been the end of their race. So these guys taking it nice and easy, but Razor, I don't know, he seems to be cracking a bit under the pressure of the Williams behind him. Alex Budd putting on so much pressure on this Ferrari at the moment, but Razor doing a good job to try and stay composed. But with those immediate compact tires, they are the same age in terms of the lap count. But Alex Budd, he's right on the back. They go side by side into 11. He might actually have a look. They are. He goes for a move around the outside. He taps the Ferrari, and the Ferrari's in the wall.
I don't know about the contact on that one. I had a beautiful shot as dunk on you. Coming through the chicane, we see Razor get things swung around, and that was a very close off. Oh, I thought that was...
It's a battle for the lead at the moment, Striff. Sorry to cut you off there, but there is a change in hands for the leader of this race. Backrow has finally made the move at turn 3, but he's lost the rear out of turn 4. But just because of the nature of the track, he is going to maintain the lead of this race. And now he needs to pull a 3-second gap back to Squid if he wants to win this race. So Squid, all he has to do is stay in that DRS zone as long as he can. Just buy himself time. And it looks like that's actually Alex Budd having a spin at turn 2 in the other Williams.
That was one of the most daring overtake attempts that I have seen today, maybe this week through Australia. Wheel to wheel through the 11-12 chicane is a death wish.
Yeah, certainly something you don't see very often, and it is a very dangerous. They've put a lot of trust in the other driver not to make that tiniest bit of contact, because even the slightest tap can be enough to send you into a spin. But meanwhile, there's another battle brewing for the final podium place. Rutanius has been showing he's got the pace and he's got the race. Well, he's got the overtaking prowess to boot in that Racing Point car. He is only half a second behind the other Red Bull of Yasko. So both Red Bulls actually in a very good spot to take a serious haul of points, as are the two Mercedes at the moment, with only a handful of laps to go. There's only 5 laps to go, including the one that we're on right now. Squid trying to put as much pressure as he can on the tail end of Backrow, and Rutanius, who we're currently riding along with, is slowly but surely closing that gap to the other Red Bull of Yasko.
Squid, no penalties. Sitting between 2 Red Bulls right now. Adam charging through the grid on fresh mediums in comparison to the rest of this grid. We're on lap 25 out of 29. And the big question is, who is going to finish where? Taking a look at the penalties, majority of the drivers on the grid with those pesky 3-second time penalties, a couple of drivers with 6, and in Alex Budd's case, 9 seconds. Maka with 5, as well as Adam for speeding on entry into the pit lane. So those penalties can always play a significant role. Rutanius within that half-second range of Yasko with the DRS coming into the 13th turn. He just isn't close enough right now to take any opportunities.
No, but at the front end of this grid, Squid is just inside that DRS range as Backrow starts lap 26 of 29. So 4 laps left to go in this one, and Squid is doing a superb job, I should say. of staying within that 1 second gap. That DRS really helping him keep himself in a net win and in the net lead of this race after Backrow's penalty is applied. But those hards have been on that car since lap 2? Lap 3? I don't even know, Striffy. They've been on that car for a long time, and they certainly won't be feeling it anymore.
Yoda, who I would consider team boss over there at the Williams squad, probably sitting there rubbing his shoulders, telling him, "You've got this, buddy. You've got this. You just keep pushing. You just keep nursing those tires. You have a gap. You have the penalty. You know, it's good." And look at the amount of traction he carries still with these worn tires on the rear end of this Red Bull, with a charge coming out of the 11-12 chicane with the DRS. A little bit of that battery in his utilization, and he is going to get that move done into lead of this race once again, on track with no penalties on this 26th lap. He is about to cross us into the third last lap of this race. Squid rounding out of turn 16, very tricky on worn tires, but he is doing exactly what he needs to do to show up as a race winner here in Albert Park.
Yeah, both these drivers for the lead of this race going to the nail. Absolutely nothing to separate them at the moment. Backrow using that DRS to try and close the gap a little bit more, but what a move from Squid, and to do it on such worn tires is no mean feat. But Squid making a little bit of a mistake there into turn 3. Can Backrow capitalize and get the run that he needs to close that gap even more? Yes, he does. And it's a 2/10, it's 1.5. Wants to go for the move at turn 6. He does up the inside. There's a bit of contact there. He's able to keep the car under control, but that was just a bit too soon, a bit too eager there from the Red Bull. And as a result, he has fallen out of that 1 second window that he needs to have that rear wing open between turns 12 and 13, Striffium.
His saving grace here, his saving grace is the fact that he does have the fresher rubber. But if Mikau, they had been on equal tires and on equal pace, that move would have cost Backrow dearly. And it just may have, regardless, considering he has put himself further back. He just managed to crawl his way into that DRS. And that is going to keep him within DRS into turn 1. But will he have enough of a gap to make the moves he needs to make? He doesn't have a lot of battery left. Squid actually has more battery at his disposal, and we are now crossing out of the 16th turn Mikau in the penultimate lap of this race. Penalties playing a massive role in this one, as well as safety cars, but it is all down to these two now. It's about the win. Squid, one of the only drivers on the grid without penalties at this point in time after one of the most dynamic races we've ever seen in the Misfits. What a debut it's been, and what a debut it just may be for Williams.
Another driver who we're talking about a lot at the start of the race, but we haven't really talked about a lot in the latter stages, is Atom. He is absolutely flying on those medium compound tires. He just made a relatively easy move on Damon Plays for that 7th place, trying to recover as many points as he can after that massive mistake a few laps ago. But he's certainly showing that he does have the pace to be a race winner here in Tier 3.
It's about making the most of the opportunities and the situations that present themselves, and Squid has most definitely done that, starting this race in the second row, in third position, just taking what he can get, and right now that is a potential race win. We're coming through the 13th turn, Mick, less than half a second the gap between these two. Of course, the penalty for Backrow, 6 seconds. Ladies and gentlemen, we could be looking at Squid with a race win here as he comes out of the 16th turn to begin the final lap of this race.
Cactus
with an exchange.
Yeah, I was
just in that Mercedes. He's hunting.
Yeah, I was just about to say Cactus with a nice move up the inside of turn 13, but as this is the final lap of the race and there is a battle for the lead, we are going to ride on board with Backrow. There's actually a yellow flag. That's Atom yet again spinning, or having a bit of an issue between turns 13 and 14, so very unfortunate for him. Arrow as well now, and the other Mercedes getting past Rutanius into turn 1. Very nicely done from him.
Oh, not yet, Mick, not yet. He hasn't there. There was a great exit out of Rutanius, but Arrow putting that car in a good position. Maybe not enough of an exit for Rutanius. He had the DRS, but he didn't get to make that move. Now back on with the race in front of things. It's Squid on the inside, back row around the outside, coming down in the 10th turn. A little bit later on the brakes was the Red Bull. Squid holding as best he can on that inside. A little bit of a knock there on the inside between the Red Bull and the Williams, but that is Squid back through in the lead of this race as we make our way into the high-speed chicane of 11 and 12. Back row is on the back foot, Mick.
He most certainly is. 4/10 is the gap. He's using everything left in that car, but it isn't quite enough to make that move into 13. Squid just has to keep it clean and have a very nice and safe final sector in order to secure this race win. And I think he's done it. He makes his way through the penultimate turn now. Does the Williams driver. He stayed out of trouble when everyone else around him got caught up in it. Dirt Chocolate, Adam, they all got caught up in trouble, but it's Squid taking the race win here in the first race for Tier 3, the first race of MRL Season 4, and what a drive it has been from the Williams driver. Absolutely amazing stuff. Back row will come across in second, and Yasko will make it a double Red Bull podium. So I'm sure the guys and girls there at Milton Keynes are very, very happy about that one. Rutanius will take 4th place in that racing point, then the two Mercedes, Arrow and Cactus 5th and 6th. Damon plays in 7th on his MRL debut. Dunk on You will come across the line in 8th. Does he hold that 8th on penalties? Yes, he does. Moen will come across in 9th, and Alex Budd, I believe, will take the...
He might just take his first points as well.
He runs out of fuel as he crosses the line. It all depends on the penalty situation. No, he won't. Maka will take that. It actually will be Lovell taking that final point for the Alfa Romeo squad. So 1 point consolation, but I'm sure those guys will not be happy on how their race went today, Striff.
Well, one thing I can say is that the Williams squad as well as the Red Bull squad are going to be very happy with that one. Of course, it was Squid, Backrow, and Yasko, your top 3. We're going to get some interviews for you guys in just a few moments' time. Driver of the day, the game awarded driver of the day, awarded to Lavelle, which of course for the most positions gained in that race. But there it is, Squid on the podium, and the 2 Red Bull drivers next to him. You love to see it, and what a debut race that was for the league. Of course, everybody that's been hanging out, everybody that's been watching along, thank you so much for being here. We're going to have the closing interviews, and then we're going to rate a member of the F1 community as always. And then in not too long, just shy of 5 hours' time, Mick will be back with stars for the Americas division this evening at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard. That's 2 a.m. GMT. But yes, Mick, take us through the classification after this one.
Yeah, so Squid with an amazing drive from 3rd on the grid will take the first race win of the season. An absolutely stellar drive from him. And that's the 2 Red Bulls of Backrow and Yasko rounding off the podium there. Two great drives from those 2 guys there for the Milton Keynes squad. Rutanius will come across the line in 4th, Arrow in 5th, Cactus in 6th, Damon plays in 7th, Doc on You in 8th, Moen in 9th, Lovell in 10th. They will round off the points finishes and a whole bunch of DNFs to boot as well. Personalities like Dirt Chocolate and Unicorn among them, Undertaker and Gadwin, as well as Linus among others. And I do believe we'll have some interviews ready to go, Striffium.
Just verifying if we can get Yasko in here. If not, that is okay. But we do have our P2 and P1 finishers, so I will be back in just a moment with them.
Yeah, guys in the chat, what did you guys think of that race? I know, me personally, that was quite the thriller. It had its fair share of action, its fair share of drama as well. And, you know, that's just what happens sometimes when we have the racing. But hopefully we can get some interviews in here. And I do believe my lovely co-commentator is back in the box with me.
Yes, joining us, ladies and gentlemen, your MRL debut, Backrow. You collected a podium. You collected a 2nd position finish. How are you feeling?
Amazing, to be honest. There was a lot of things that went right in that race for me to pick up the podium. There was, I think in the 2nd safety car, 3 people crashed, and I just took advantage of it. Atom thankfully dragged me towards a squid, and then decided to spin himself. So there was a lot of advantages for me in that race. Unfortunately, I couldn't take the win. Gave it my all though.
what would you chalk it down to in the end with your battle with Squid? It was a very good battle. We enjoyed it thoroughly. I imagine everybody viewing along did. What was the key element there? Why couldn't you get past the Williams? You had a little bit of a tire advantage. Was he just a little bit quicker on his setup today? Was there something in particular pulling you back, or was it just he was in the right places at the right time?
I think he's very good at defending. There was a lot of times where he would give me the outside, and I think both of us knew that the outside is the worst line if you're fighting someone. When we did eventually have our first proper battle, I came into it with 2 warnings, and when we were side by side in one of the corners, I pulled back and went off track and got my 3rd warning in the 3 seconds. So it was almost over from there.
That was a crucial moment for sure. I think it was at a turn 5 that we had seen that. It was a very tight exchange.
Yeah.
Now, with that being done and dusted, you have a little bit of an idea of who your rivals are in this grid now. You have a great idea, I'm sure, of where your pace lands. But now, round 2, next week, Bahrain. How are you feeling?
Bahrain's always been a good track for me. What I've seen from that race is Atom is very fast. I'm not sure if I can beat him, to be honest. We'll have to see.
Yeah, that's right. We will have to see. That will be next week. Back row, thank you so much for taking the time to interview. And of course, congratulations on the podium and that 2nd position finish in the opening round of the Season 4 action. We're going to jump now with, of course, Squid. Squid, hello and welcome. I'm going to let Mikau handle this one as you won the race around his home turf. But I just wanted to say from me to you, sir, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, Squid, a massive, massive congratulations from me there. When all of the rivals around you, Dirk, Chocolate, and Adam had their struggles, you were able to stay out of trouble and take home the race win. Just run us through how you're feeling about the win in this present moment. You must be overly ecstatic about it, I'm sure.
Yeah, I honestly can't tell you how it feels to win your first race in a league. Yeah, but after lap 1, I could have got Dirk on the outside of turn 1, I feel, but I didn't want to risk it because obviously lap 1, turn 1 never always goes well. So I backed out, let Dirk go ahead, and then I tried a bit too hard into turn 5, completely spun, lost my entire front wing, thought my race was over, and then loads of people just because obviously I had to go slower into the corners, just started. I felt people just rear-ending me, but there was nowhere I could go because there was someone on my right-hand side, someone on my left-hand side, and then caused the safety car, which luckily I pitted under first, which got me into P1 on the 2nd safety car restart. But then my tyres died on about lap 22, and I've been having to tyre manage ever since. I was very lucky that Atom spun out, otherwise I would not have that race win today. Very good pace from Atom. And I thought, well, at one point, I think it was about lap 26, back row was completely gone. And then he made a few mistakes going through sector 2, which meant I was able to get him back into sector 3. And I had it locked down from there.
Yeah, we were looking at those tires. They were so old, those tires. I don't know how you managed to do that, but it was really solid effort from you there this evening, and congratulations once again. And be sure to celebrate with the boys back at the factory and in the team, and be sure to support the rest of you guys because they were rooting for you, mate. They were certainly definitely rooting for you in that one, and you brought home the points. So congratulations on your first race win, and hopefully many more to come during the season, my friend.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, I do believe that is all the time we have for you guys today. Stryfium, any closing remarks you would like to make before we end the stream here?
I just want to say thank you to everybody who came along for the opening race of Season 4. We hope to see you later this evening for those that can stay up and check out the Americas division. That is going to be a very intense race, as, of course, the Americas division has some very fast racers in it. Zamis can be found there as well as some of the other, of course, more recognized names from the league, but there is going to be some very fast action going on this evening. Now, tomorrow, Tier 2, that is once again at 8 p.m. GMT, 3 p.m. in the afternoon for those on the East Coast here in North America, like myself. Now, That means Tier 1 is on Thursday, same time, same place. And then we have APAC this Sunday as well. We have so much racing coming to you here for Season 4, and we are extremely proud to share it all with you. Of course, can't forget to mention our newly, of course, made friendship with Next Level Racing. We have a great partnership with them, and we have a lot of fantastic stuff coming. The information on all of that will be shared within the next coming weeks, events, things like this. You can find more updates on that on our Twitter. But with all of that being said, without further ado, we are going to kick things off with a raid for Season 4 of none other than Mr. Darian Alfie, as he will be racing tomorrow. And we hope you go over there and give him some love, as he will be driving in the Ferrari for Tier 2 action. Mikhail, to you, sir.
Yeah, I think you've covered all the bases. Be sure to tune in just under 5 hours' time for the Americas division, where you'll be hearing my lovely voice again for that race, and you'll be seeing Strifium out there on the track, so be sure to give him your support there in that race. But without further ado, I'm going to roll the outro, and I'll see you guys in a few hours' time. Take it easy.